today. I'm thinking that we might see a couple of breakouts
Yeah,
on the currencies.
yeah,
We might.
yeah. That's what I'm kind of looking at as well with the FTSE, that there's a a potential break. Certainly to the upside. It doesn't appear that anything's bringing it down currently anyway. So a break to the downside is going to need to break some levels anyway. Well, we are live on YouTube, so good morning to the
Oh,
rest of the
goodness
world,
gracious.
and good morning to
G'day,
you,
everyone.
Jeff.
G'day, mate.
Um,
Well, and I trust the FTSE's still hanging around and
yeah,
trying to get through that barrier up the top there, isn't it?
yes, it is. And in the US show, I was saying about buying up the monthly pivots, and as price comes up to this level, just making it a free trade, and I hope that everybody's done that, and I hope everybody's making it a free trade and not expecting it to go too much higher, but then at the same time, not necessarily expecting it to come down either. So we kind of go into a trading day with a trade on. I'm hoping. Good morning, Kumar. Good morning, PL. That we did on the US show, the US session yesterday, with no expectation. So you should be kind of able to put stops at break even now. Market still looks pretty keen to go up. But if it is not to go up, then these pivots are starting to. Ever deem any information from this, Jeff? When you see pivots just starting to stack on top of each other and getting very close here.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing screen. There we go.
I go straight into consolidation mode.
Yeah.
G'day, Peter and Kumar. How you doing?
So I was just started to share my screen now. Hopefully that's working.
I could see it, I thought.
You could see it. Okay.
Oh, maybe I wasn't looking at YouTube. Okay. Yep.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So this is where we are at right now. So I was saying about buying on the pivot and putting getting your stops to break even as a price approach the trend line again. Trend line is getting really scruffy now because you got a tip through there, a tip through there, a tip through there. It could be readjusted. I don't really ever like
providing resistance, isn't it? There's a strong confluence there, weekly pivot and trend line.
Yes.
That's really doing the job right now on the market.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There's a technical level, and it would suggest that if it took this level out, that we'd be off to the races. But even I'm just not convinced, mate. I've got to say, even if we did start to move higher, I'd want to wait for those unemployment numbers to come through. If by the end of the day we are higher, different matter completely. But I still think there could be a little bit of a battle going on here. There are a few. There's just a few conflicting messages. If we're looking for downside, we are looking for a breakdown of all these pivots, and then coming back, and then we can trade it lower. But right now, I think that if you guys have managed to get this trade on here, and it would be on the monthly pivot, if you manage to get that trade on, then just leave it alone and see what happens, because there's a chance that we do break higher and just keep going until the next leg to the upside before we fail. So that would be my suggestion. Just if you can get something on there, leave it alone and see what happens from there. If you get taken out and you don't make any money on it, it's no big deal really, because what would be great is if the market could get up to a level, maybe even up here, and then at that point you can put on a short at the same value as this long, and then you've got a free trade, and you're going to put your stop loss. This stop loss is already at break even, so the idea would be enter up here, stop loss at break even down here. As this comes down, or if it comes down, then this stop loss will get taken out, and then you've got a really good entry price up there for the short, because we are long-term bearish short. If the price goes higher and goes beyond that, you just close the trade and just bank this much. Close both of them down and just bank that much. So that's why I'd hold on to the long if you can, rather than coming out. But aside from that, mate, it looks pretty sideways, and I wonder whether we are waiting for unemployment claims, and that could happen. We may not kind of get any real movement one way or the other, or we might, as I suspect, we might just keep edging higher. I mean, there's something about this market which looks to me like it's tense and it wants to go long. There's a few things about it actually that look tense and like they want to go long. But look at the bar yesterday. Yesterday's bar I thought was quite in the end quite significant on the daily chart. This is an engulfing bar here, off the retracements. You know, we had 2 days of downside. Big engulfing bar takes us back to the highs again, and it's kind of starting to look like, you know, can't really call it a flag because we've got no pole there, but there is a little bit of a channel going on here now. So I'm just waiting to see whether this channel is going to play out. It doesn't look so good on that chart actually. You can see it on this chart maybe a little bit easier. We did kind of get slightly below it, but there's maybe even some sort of pivot going on there. But it looks like there's some sort of channel going on. And yes, we're at the high end of that channel, but there's just something about this market that looks pretty geared for upside. Just having a look at some of the other barometers. Oil is the other one that I was saying yesterday. Looks like it was going to try and put in a reversal bar. Didn't really do that. It did have a good grab, but this is a spinning top. I know it's at the bottom, but this is a spinning top, which does indicate a bit of indecision. So there may be another couple of days before the oil bulls feel a little bit more confident about this. So watch out for oil if you're thinking of the long. I don't think there's anything really surefire there. But that's about it, mate. I think, you know, as I say, I think if we are long in the FTSE, we should just hold on to it, put stops at break even just in case it breaks down. Otherwise, I think we wait until the unemployment data and potentially until we can get up to that particular level up there.
Yeah, look, I think you're in for a real shot there today for a big move. And the reason I say that, and you asked me the question about the pivots, the way I read the pivots is when they continue to come closer and closer and closer together, and they hit a confluence area, 3 pivots and a support or resistance, horizontal trend line, whatever.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a powerful level. And
yes.
It really can make the market move. It's just getting
yes.
that timing right. And generally, you'll find that it'll be.
It is. Yeah, absolutely right, mate. It is a powerful level, and I suppose what's interesting about this is that right now price just needs to get above the trend line. It's above the daily. It's above the monthly currently, just above the weekly at this stage. If it can get any kind of stretch its legs at all above this area, I think it's gone. But maybe only for a period, and maybe only until those unemployment claims. And that's what I'm a little bit concerned with. I'm a bit concerned that we might end up getting something which just pops to the upside and then pops all the way back down again by the end of the day. But that would give us just as a clear signal that we should be looking for the short then under
Absolutely.
there. Mm-hmm. So I'm just waiting to see it develop. But certainly right now, you know, I am waiting for a pop. It just looks tense to me, like it wants to go. But let's see if that does transpire, or if we wait for the unemployment numbers, then that would change my thesis a little bit, because then we'd be data dependent. But really, I'd want it up here, or even up there, and then you can. I think you could definitely place the short before data if you already got free money in the market. So I'm just waiting to see what happens with that, mate.
Right, bud. Let's talk pound US dollar breakout, I guess. Screen time.
Good morning, Swee.
Rightio. We had a small win yesterday, didn't we? But only a small one, I think, from memory. Today, what have we got? We've got a genuine range here today. The 3 bars are differing levels, and this is the low bar, the third last bar prior to London Open on an hourly chart. This is the last bar prior to open on an hourly chart. And as you can see, just like everything, well, not everything, but a lot of the currency pairs, certainly, we have maintained this range that I've been banging on about since Monday. And really, that spring that keeps coiling and just about ready to burst, I think, is maybe today. Maybe we see it happen today. Don't know. Gee, I can see an ascending triangle there. Choo. Interesting. This could go to the high side. I'm actually a bit of a bull on the pound today. But let's set these trades anyway. Okay, the high of this bar is at 1.23756. Let's call that 1.2376 and add 15 pips to it, and it becomes 1.2391. So that will be our long entry. The stop for that entry would be, or that trade would be 10 pips underneath this bar, whose low is 1.23247. We'll round that down to 1.2324 and call the stop loss 1.2314. So 1.2314 and 1.2391 are our parameters today. There's the long in the order. 2314 and 91. So we'll set the short. And we will sell at 1.2394. 14, sorry. And we'll put our stop loss at 1.2391. That's not a bad little range. I don't mind that. And if we do get fortunate enough to experience a big breakout here today, then maybe we can put some nice funds in the bank. That would be good. That ascending triangle that I'm talking about goes along with my bias. Kind of in there somewhere. And I would like to see this break to the high side. To trade that, from my strategies point of view, I'd have to see this line broken and read. Well, let me make it a line rather than a little image. So mouse is what I need. There we go. We've got a pretty clear trend line coming up through here. I've actually got to move it down to there. So I'll get as many hits as I can on it. Yeah, it just squeezes in. So I don't want to break any candles there. So best case scenario here for me would be price to get down here and don't take us into the short. Consolidate in that area, get back above not only the trend line, but the pivots, daily pivot, monthly pivot. If we've got to get above those, and even better, the top of the range as well, and retested the whole damn lot of them, bingo. That would be my signal to go long. Gee, I hope I see that, Ash. That would be pretty cool. So that's where I'm at, primarily on the pound. Why am I bullish?
So you wanted to go high? You wanted to go above the trend, above the trade line there?
Yeah, I do. And I really can't give you a solid answer. And I went through this with the guys this morning. I've got a case for both. You can see that we've got above the monthly pivot, come back and rebroken it, and now failed to close back above it. That's a bearish signal,
yeah,
in my book, right? But if I go down a time frame, it changes a little bit because I've got a double cross of the monthly pivot going the opposite direction. So it's not as clear cut as the bigger time frame would appear. And we do have that ascending triangle sitting there as well. So I can make a case either way. And, generally that is going to be the situation. But I've just got this little bit of glint in the eye that this is going to go long. And I can't explain it. I really can't. It's just the feeling that you get.
I was looking at the pound yesterday on a weekly chart, I think it was, and the weekly chart, the longer term time frames actually do suggest that that we could hit a bit of weakness here. So I don't know whether.
Wouldn't surprise me in the least, Ash. Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, because somebody was saying yesterday that somebody was talking the pound down, and then so I thought I'd have a little sneak of the chart, and obviously they're talking about a much longer term time frame, and you're talking about a much shorter term time frame, so it's not even the same conversation. But I only looked because I think it was either Crystal or Helen was saying that somebody was really bearish on the pound. Somebody's really talking the pound down, and I thought they were talking, I think it was Helen said it. I thought she was saying it was me, but I did have a good look, and looking at the longer term, as I say, it does look a bit heavy. I don't know what's happened to the euro pound actually. Euro pound's drifting a little bit, isn't it? But
yeah, look, I've been trying to get back into this, but drifting is the word. I can't find a case to get in. It just goes. Now we're breaking that trend line. Well, is there a genuine trend line there? I'm not sure. I don't know where that's coming from, to be fair. But yeah, I'll be having a look at that today as well. There's no question. That'll be pretty much US show time. I have put a couple of orders in the market today already. And one of them is the Aussie long, but it's too late, guys. I've already taken profit on that. So it's just timing, and there's really not a whole lot I can do about it. But there is, and the weekly pivot's going to be an issue now. There is a clear false break that has set up there on the 4-hour time frame, but I actually traded this bar here. And if you remember, and you probably don't because it's too much, we just really give out way too much information in a week to remember it all. And this is one of my favorite plays, this bar here. Looks like it's going down, but it's got a nice little tail on it as well that suggests that they tried, and they couldn't get through this level, and then they came back off it. That's what, yeah, look, it's really good when you see that. It is a higher low after we've come back into the range as well. So I have traded that today, and I've taken my profit at the weekly pivot. So I'm in a no-lose situation here. If it does go through the top of this range, then happy days. If it doesn't, then, well, we'll look to trade it back the other way, I guess. The other one was Euro Aussie short, and I can't really, well, I can show you, of course I can show you. But this is, where is it? Not even on this one.
Yeah, I think Europe had just announced a junk bond buying to protect Spain. So buying some of those junk bonds from Spain. Yeah, so I'm not sure what that necessarily do or what that says about the European situation. I know it's still pretty grave over there. European flash numbers they're just about to be reported. Some of these numbers. We've got French PMIs in about 3 minutes time, 2 minutes time actually. German PMIs in about 15 minutes time. So there's a bit of data from the Eurozone today, bit of data from the UK as well. Flash PMIs out of the UK. So there's actually quite a lot of data today, mate, that we haven't really kind of we haven't discussed.
No, we haven't. We're getting out of the habit, I guess, because the elephant in the room's still there. We haven't removed it, and everything has kind of gone to the background, I guess.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking off air earlier, and kind of thinking, do you think the market's gone into a, coronavirus, we're kind of hearing it every day, we're a little bit over it, let's get back to just trading normal shit? I don't know if that's the case, but I get that feeling because, and we discussed this as well, the fact that the stock markets have rallied and not gone down is a big question mark for me. I know it is for you and a lot of other people. Why haven't we seen that third wave? And I think it is. I think it's just complacency.
Yes.
We've gone into seen it all before. It's not that big a deal. It is that big a deal.
Yeah.
And I know you and I, back in January or February, we were stunned that the market hadn't crashed because of what we could see was a big issue. Yet the market lagged really lagged into that reaction. And
it did.
I don't know why, but the market's everything. We can't argue with it. We can't fight it. We just got to go with it. But
yes,
I think if we are to have this third wave, and I believe we will, it's kind of like that. It feels like that again, that the market's just, why isn't it doing what it should be doing?
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I think when it comes to what do they say? The market is efficient. That's the term that I always say. Yeah, I was always told that the market is efficient, but
and everything's actually priced in it every time. Yes.
Yeah, which it can't be. If the market, and only because the market isn't allowed to be efficient. I think the market could be efficient, and what that means is that you do get survival of the fittest, and the weakest companies get culled off, and the strongest companies win, and the strongest companies come through. But with the kind of stimulus packages that we see from the US government, then certain companies are saved. And actually, they probably, in an efficient market, they probably shouldn't be saved. They should be left
Yep.
to kind of go to the
Survival of the
lions.
fittest. Yep.
Yeah, it should be survival of the fittest, because that would make it efficient, in my opinion. So maybe the market used to be efficient, and maybe that's where the term comes from. But it's to my mind, it isn't that anymore, and that's why I guess it's sometimes quite confounding. But certainly, I mean, the charts tend to tell us what we know, but it's one of those things that as always, and I don't. When I say the move to the downside will come from nowhere, I don't mean it's just going to tank and go bang, 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 bang. I mean that you won't necessarily know, because the downside signal will look the same as these pullback signals. You won't necessarily know that it's gonna drift, and that's where it becomes difficult. And I suppose that's why we always encourage to take something off the table, but leave something there just in case it's the one, the one that really does decide that that it's going to be the one to fall. But yeah, it is, mate. It is quite. It confounds sometimes.
Yes, yes,
That's
it does.
just what the market tends to do. But is it the liquidity? And there's no way of knowing. There's no way of knowing what it is that is driving it in one direction. Well, in the up direction, really. But we know we can get a fair idea that this is about liquidity, and it's about supports, from federal governments and governments around the world to make sure businesses survive. But when you look at the cold, hard data, just doesn't seem to mix. There's no balance between the data and the facts at this current stage, because that money is basically like pulled out of thin air. Now we've just had flash PMIs out of France. Let's see what that will give us. Flash PMIs out of France. Are we on my screen or your screen?
It should be on mine, I think.
Yours, okay. Well, just to let you know, we got Euroflash Screen PMI out of France. They were looking for a oh my goodness me, forecast of 24.7. So anything below 50 is indicating contraction. The number was 10. So looking at a number of 24.50, and the number is 10. In firm flash manufacturing PMI, so that's services PMI. Manufacturing PMI, they were looking at 37. The number is 31. So you don't need much in the way of, I mean, this is France we're talking about. Not hugely significant when it comes down to the worldwide economy. But if the market all of a sudden rallies today, and we're seeing numbers like this, Germany's about to report in about 10 minutes time, 12 minutes time. If we're seeing numbers like this, and these numbers continue to kind of just surprise in this way, then I think the argument that the stock market is efficient is going to be pretty hard to make. Well, let's wait and see, mate. We got 11 minutes for that, but awful numbers from France. Whether that's a barometer for what happens in Germany, I don't know, but that's a terrible number in France.
Yep. Okay, I agree. And the more those numbers keep coming, obviously the market has to react to that. It can't ignore it. And despite what we said about, or what I said about the market being totally over this or being complacent about what's going on, what's really going on in the world, it just has to say at some stage, look, these numbers are ridiculous, and we need to trade on that. So I don't know. It's really tough. All I'll do is stick with my little technical scenarios and see what happens. But the euro looks like it may sell off here as a result of that number.
Well, should do, shouldn't it? This is the thing. But it's obviously going to wait for the German numbers. But if those German numbers are just as bleak, then the euro is going to have some downside. I would have thought today.
It might be buy euro if that doubles up. Yep. We shall see. In terms of analysis today on the euro, wow, what a mess I've got here. But here's the level. We are approaching this level. And if we get through that, as I said, it's buy euro, we're back down here. We will retest the bottom of this channel, in my humble opinion.
Oh,
So,
mate, do you know what? I'm just reading up on this. Both subsectors, as in the services PMI and the manufacturing PMI, both recorded their fastest contractions in output since the composite data collected began 22 years ago. So the fastest contraction in 22 years in France. And now, as I say, France is a insignificant economy, relatively speaking, when it comes down to the worldwide economy. But surely all these numbers become barometers. They're not doing business with somebody. There's got to be a knock-on effect. You don't take the world's biggest mammal's food source away and it not have an impact. And I think it's the same with France. France might be small, but you can't survive if these smaller economies. I mean, it's smaller. I think it's sixth or something in the world. I mean, but it's just nowhere near America and China and obviously the whole European Union as a big block. But it does matter.
when's that next news out? At 9.
In about 9 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that can't be right. 8:30 is in 9. 8:30. Yeah, 9 minutes. Sorry. Yeah. Gotcha. And then we've got the manufacturing and flash coming out of the Eurozone as well. And then the pound. Wow, it could be an interesting day. If there was no such thing as coronavirus, we'd be looking at this going, wow, fasten your seatbelts, wouldn't we?
What, for the downside?
Well, for any side.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah. Well, the kind of data we got coming out. Absolutely.
We used to call this Super Thursday, basically.
Yeah.
If you throw in the Fed meeting and you throw in NFP tomorrow, which is not right, but on some Thursdays that is the case, and you get, wow, a Super Thursday in the market. Can move big time both ways, which is very, very interesting, of course. I wonder, is today the day that it does move? We shall see. Mate, I might go around the grounds whilst we've got...
Have a quick look, yeah. Have a quick look.
Bit of space.
The FTSE 100, just so you know, after that absolutely abysmal number, moved to 10 pips. It's like a blip. It's like, whoop. Boop.
There's another blip.
Boop. Yeah, sorry, buddy. You go.
You're right. No drama. Okay, so in terms of how to trade the euro today, let's have a look and see what the smaller time frames are telling me. We just had a look at it. We've just heard the news, and really right now, there's not a whole lot we can do. What we can have a look at, however, is things like this little line through here. And if price were to, let's say the next bit of news is mild or bullish for the euro, and we happen to hang in here for a little bit, then what you may see is price get back above there on the third news announcement, and then a retest would certainly give us the reasoning to be looking at the re-entry into the range. I think if that were to be the case, and I'm talking a few hours from now probably, or maybe an hour and a half, if you see that happen, price back up to here and retest that trade line, there's no reason why you wouldn't want to go long there, because what then has happened is the number, and especially if all the numbers are bad, and this doesn't fall out of the sky, something else is going on, right? So you've got to think kind of one step ahead. And if these numbers don't drag this market down and it starts to rally, then there's another reason. There's something else happening. So you can then look forward to price going back into that area. But at the moment, you've just got to wait for that to take place. That news has to happen, and it has to get out of our road. Okay, dollar yen. Did somebody say consolidation? Oh, that would have been me, right? So nothing's changed here. And the one thing that we do see, however, if we look closely, is potentially an opportunity to trade this. You can see that we've come back off the top of this inner range, if you like, and put in a lower high. In the meantime, we've gone through the daily pivot and retested it. We've got the weekly pivot dead ahead, so it's tricky. And we've now potentially put in another lower high. Very interesting. I'm not fussed, I've got to say, because we're getting them very, very close together. I'm not sure exactly what happens next, to be fair. But on the balance of, okay, back inside the range, lower high, I'm thinking this is going short. For what I'd like to see is probably something to confirm that. And as always, that will come off a trade line or the top of a range or something for me. So I'd really like price to break out here. Don't take out that high, but certainly don't take out that high. Consolidate a little bit, then get back underneath and retest the confluence of daily pivot and the trade line. If that were the case, that confirms to me that this is ready to go down. So that's when I'd like to pick it up. We may look back at this tomorrow and say, well, there was your lower high there, and now we're down here. Why didn't you take it? Well, the reason I'm not is kind of twofold. The daily pivot has already acted as a bounce. Maybe it'll do it again. So that's a bit of a worry. But I really want to see this resistance broken now, just to confirm things for me. So that's where I'm at on dollar yen. Of course, we are still short on the bigger time frames, and not on this one, but on this one. Dollar yen, see somewhere. Where's my eyes? There we are. So stops are still at 108.20, I think, if I'm not mistaken, which is well underneath where we entered the market back up here some, 10 days ago, 12 days ago. So that's how slow this has been. It's been a very, very slow burn on dollar yen. And really it becomes, as I keep saying, the longer we're in this, it becomes 50-50. But there's no reason to get out of the short either, because we still have that overbearing or overpowering signal of last off the top and lower high, which is why we got into the market in the first place. So, imagine if we got out now, having banked twice, and price goes down to here. Wow, you wouldn't be happy with yourself, would you? So that's why I've got the stop where it is. And until it's taken out, I will remain in exactly that position. I don't know that I want to add to it, I've got to say, but if it does set up that way, maybe after we get down here, then I'd reconsider it. But I don't see any reason to change anything here right now. But if you're not in the trade, then there are a couple of signals there that are suggesting that there might be a little bit of downside to come on dollar yen. That said, if you have a look at this chart, the daily chart, we've come off the bottom of the range at the monthly pivot, so a strong support level, and put in a higher low. So and as I keep saying, I can put in a case for both scenarios, and maybe you want to trade this one. I don't, because I think we've got too many conflicts going on here. There's really a conflict of interest for the shorts and the longs. So I just want to stay out now and just let my position ride and see how it goes. Aussie's come off since it's hit the weekly pivots, and where have I got? I think I've still got my stops under here for this one. No reason to change. I think the signal is still there. It's still a false break. It's still a higher low. If that changes, obviously I'm out of the trade, but it will be out of the trade with profit in the bank, so no big deal. Obviously, I would like this to continue higher. I'm not of that bias, I've got to say. And maybe I should have just exited my whole position here rather than 2/3 of it, because I still think the monthly pivot is in play. Lots can happen, but
numbers about to hit the wires now in 2 seconds time. Will they come in at?
We'll go back to the euro.
Who's moving on that as well? French PMI is still reporting on that one. Okay, not seem to wanting to load that. Let's have a look again. Calendar. Okay. German manufacturing PMI comes in at 34.4 with a 39 predicted, nowhere near as bad as the 10 that we saw from German from flat services PMI. Yeah, it looks like it's the it's the service sector in Europe which is getting hammered. 15.9, looking for 28. 15.9 on the German services PMI. French services PMI coming in at 10. The manufacturers in France came in at 31, and the manufacturers in Germany came in at 34. So it is the service sector which is getting the real hammering. It looks like in Europe.
Well, I guess no surprise there. That takes into consideration what's it called? Food and drink. What's that called? Hospitality, doesn't it?
Hospitality, yes, I guess that's right. Yeah, I guess that's right. I mean, probably still a much worse number than that they were hoping for. I would, well, certainly that's what a much worse number than was forecast anyway. No related story just yet, so I'll read up on that in a moment and see what's that about. But yeah, with Germany doing that, you got to say the euro is in all sorts of trouble today now off the back of that data. Of course, circumstantial data, so by no means a forward marker of what we should be looking at, but definitely. You'd be waiting for some kind of reaction. It hasn't transpired massively yet, has it? Or has it? There's a bit of movements.
I'll go back to it. Yeah,
Bit
it's
of
kind of
movement.
stalling.
Yeah, it looks like there could be an opportunity on the euro today if that comes back. I don't know how you read that, mate, from there.
Yeah, a bit far gone for me, I think, mate. I'm in Euro Aussie short. That will probably do me, but I don't really think I'd get that. Oh, it's only at DS1. Maybe I would. Depends where this candle closes on an hourly basis. If it were to close kind of here somewhere and I were to get a retest now, that becomes interesting. But if it keeps going down and gets, between DS1 and DS2, then I'd be kind of out. We shall see. Anything can happen.
FTSE tested a lower trend line, not that far away, but it's just popped back up again. And I have to say, if the market does not come down today, if we got a really poor employment numbers as well from the US and poor flash manufacturing PMI, and the market doesn't come down today, got to start asking what is going to bring this to its knees, because it don't look good out there, But yeah, crazy markets continue to be crazy, and actually, it looks like the FTSE 100 has just hit another, just a tiny little rally off the back of those numbers, which is something to behold. Actually, just crazy. But it's like a what's the word? When something is just uncontrollable, but in such a way that it's just got so much power in such a way that that you just can't quite control it or
that's
really.
that Orlando, that's called.
Yeah, I think it might be, but yeah. Anyway, we're not breaking out, but we certainly just held price after some absolutely dismal numbers. So not enough for the market to come down on. But if it rallies here, it's because it's going to be crazy. Starmats is saying euro dollar hourly opportunity. Services poor. German beer sales. No, well, I suppose services won't be things like that. Well, as Jeff says, there'll be things like hospitality. I bet the German beer.
I think the beer sales will be doing okay, actually, Helen. It's
I think you're right.
Serving of it's the issue.
Yeah. So people are all out at the off licenses, getting enough of their beer, but they're just not getting. It's not going to the pub. In fact, Oktoberfest has been cancelled, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, understandably.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest events in Europe. Never mind in Germany. And that's now been cancelled. So indeed. that's gonna have a bit of an effect. But markets attempting to come back down again here. But but just a bit of flushing out while traders kind of like settle out. What's going to happen with this news by the top of the hour? Let's see. But if the market's holding firm here, you got to suggest it's going higher today. If it's just brushing all this stuff off, you got to suggest it's going to continue to go higher. But I'm just waiting for that blowout. Almost better, Jeff, don't you think, to have really bad data and really bad news and get a bar which just takes off because
Absolutely.
that it will look it's going to smack of exhaustion, and then there's a chance that we just get an absolute obliteration back to the downside again after that. So I wouldn't mind that at all. It's almost like a divergence indicator in some respects.
Yeah, it's a fun game to play, that one, actually.
Yeah.
Chandru, what are you seeing on the hourly chart, mate, that I'm not? You're seeing an opportunity here on the euro US dollar. Let me know. Only too happy to hear it. Whilst you're doing that, I'll conjure something else up. And thank you, Brian. If I didn't have Brian, I'd just go through this whole show not knowing who in the pound trade, which we now are, of course, and looking for a couple of seller bars underneath this one. That would be pretty cool. So we can get into a winning position. I'm not favoring that, I've got to say, from a bias point of view, but that's pretty strong information right there. Those three bars there are pretty much three black crows that are telling us this is in a downward mood. So this may well be the case. We shall see. Trading it, just stick with the breakout at the moment. I haven't got anything else to offer on that one right now. Good question, Crystal, and I'll tell you my answer to that very, very shortly. Dollar CAD. Dollar CAD's been an interesting point of interest for other members of the ATW team in the last couple of days, and the breakout there was traded. Don't know how that's looking now, to be fair. It's gone into a little bit of consolidation. That's the daily chart I'm looking at. It's kind of confusing. The daily pivot's broken away from the other pair, but it doesn't really look to be that confident, does it? The market doesn't really look to be that confident that it's going higher. I don't know. I haven't really got an opinion on this one. And because it involves the CAD, it's very, very interesting to note, if you like, that the market has, once it's broken out there, didn't go higher on the back of a weak Canadian dollar, which you would imagine should be weak, given that the oil prices just dropped down to what, $7.80 something on WTI cash. Ash, you're telling me it's a little bit better than that on the futures, so maybe it's looking up. I don't know.
Yeah, WTI 1490. It's just come off a little bit from where it was earlier on, but yeah, currently at 1490, and the lows were down at 650. So we're actually on WTI futures, we doubled in price on that.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Interesting. That's probably why we're seeing this hanging on here and not going too far too soon. A lot will depend on that oil price. The other thing, I suppose, that's worthy of note here is this scenario. It's right at the bottom of that. Don't like to trade short at the bottom of that. I think I'll be okay with this going long again. But I don't see anything to trade it off at the moment. We've got a trend line there, of course. If we were to break it, same old story, consolidate, get back above it, retest the confluence area, then we've got a long on our hands, but not at the moment. I want to go back to a couple of these questions. Okay, you're waiting for the retest on, this is Chandru or StarMax. He's looking for the retest. Perhaps that's what I was talking about before, yes. Depends on where this candle closes, to be honest. And if it is in this vicinity, then yes, I agree with you. Potential for this to retest and give us a short. Until this candle closes, I probably won't get a good read on that, but no drama. October, right, Crystal, to answer your question, and this is to both of us, do you guys watch the chart closely? How often in minute intervals? Okay, Ash is a bit different to me, but myself, when I'm not talking to you guys, I'm looking at the 30-minute chart every half hour. Once I've done my analysis, which is before the day starts, of course, before I start trading, mostly, sometimes that's impossible, but I will have a look at the bottom of the hour and the top of the hour, and that's it. And then I'll have a look at the 4-hour charts on the 4-hour. So if I'm not talking to you guys, you can pretty much say I'm spending 1 minute per hour whilst I'm trading, and that's about it, unless I find a trade, of course, and I'll place the trade. So it's analysis, talk to you guys, 1 hour, 1 to 2 minutes per hour. That's about it. Ash, you're a bit different.
Yeah, I mean, while I'm in front of my charts, it does depend on what's happening. So like, you know, a day like today where we've got data and we are on, you know, we are in this kind of sell zone. I'm interested to see, you know, how the market is shaping up, and because I sometimes take I mean, if you were in the show yesterday, then you know I took a trade off a 5-minute chart. So if I'm taking a trade off a 5-minute chart, then you know I need to be sort of like quite sharp in watching a certain time frame. But when I move away, you know, from my computer, then I'll probably, you know, that'll go down to once, maybe once an hour. So at 10 o'clock this morning. So the first 2 hours, I'm pretty keen. You know, I'll watch pretty closely the first 2 hours of price action. But after that first 2 hours are gone, then my focus does go. You know, I'll come away from the markets after that.
Yep, happy days. Did I see the backwards square root suggestion on recovery of US indexes, not V? Ash can probably have a look at that in a little bit.
What's that? Sorry, did you see what? Sorry.
Helen's question: did you see the backwards square root suggestion on recovery of US indexes, not V?
No, I didn't. That sounds interesting, though.
Yeah, it does sound interesting.
Explain that maybe further.
Looks like, but yeah, I'm not sure if it's pertinent to anything. It may well be, and you know, Helen, as I keep saying, it doesn't matter what it is. If it keeps happening, it's bloody good. Just keep on keeping it. Yeah. Trend line or trade break and retest a break of support. Right. That's exactly what you're talking about in ABC, Chandru, which leads me into Ace's question. What is the difference between ABC and false breakout and how to handle them? Okay. A false breakout is an ABC, but an ABC is not necessarily a false breakout. Let me explain that to you. We've traded a few false breakouts lately. Where was one of them? There's one right there. Okay, so let me blow this up. I didn't trade this, I actually traded this, but this is a false break right here. So what we're looking for, we've got to have a trade line, right? But you can use them on rectangles if you want. You can even use them on pivots if you want. Whatever floats your boat, really, in terms of a support and resistance area, because a false break is a false break of something, right? Generally a range of some kind. It can be a channel, it can be a trade line, it can be a rectangle, a triangle. No, not a circle. Well, maybe it can if you've got a circle working for you, but I don't. So here it is. We've had a break of the trade line. This one here, the support trade line. So the best of these is a break with a decisive bar. So if that were sitting there, that would be the best of them. But it has broken the line. That's really all that matters. Once it breaks, it then goes into consolidation. Now we need at least 2 bars. And the reason for that is the market's had time to think about it, right? So 2 bars or more. You don't want to have 20, but I can't give you a definitive number. Let's say 10, right? You don't want to be trading it after 10 because it's getting a bit long in the tooth and something else is going on. But 2 bars to, let's say, 10, and we get a re-entry back above the broken trade line. That to me is telling me that this break here is potentially a false break. And when we get a retest with the very next bar, and it really does have to be the best of them, the very next bar, then you've got confirmation, if price goes back above that level, that this is indeed a false break. Got a bit of a double pump on it here, so it's not perfect. And obviously, if you'd taken that trade, you'd want to. Well, you wouldn't have, because the weekly pivot's dead ahead. But that's what it looks like, and you will find that they are all over the shop. They happen everywhere, because most breaks of levels are false. And that goes back to something I said before, maybe not today. All trends are roadmaps to consolidation areas. That's all they are. So consolidate, not even trend, you get a crash. Trend, I call that consolidation or retracement in a uniform fashion. For me, that's a range. This is a range. There are ranges all over the place. So you're often going to see a candle break, whoops, back up here, break, whoops, back up here, whoops, back down there. They're all over the place. They don't often give you a signal on the chart that you're looking at. So maybe you need to go down to a smaller time frame and have a look at that. Maybe you need to go down to another smaller time frame to have a look at that. But you'll find that there are false breaks everywhere, absolutely everywhere. So that's the false break. The ABC, and I'll show you the ABC part of that. So with the pen come hither. So all an ABC is, in my parlance, and there'll be various versions of this, whoever you talk to, but an ABC for mine is every time a trade line is broken, it gives me an A point. Every single time. So there's an A point right there. The retest of that trade line gives me a B point. So there's my B point right there. And when this retests here, that also gives me a B point. So the difference between a false break and an ABC is this is an A because it's broken the trade line, but so is this because it's broken the trade line. The B is when you get the retest of the trade line, and the C is when we get the continuation of that. So to remember it, advance through the trade line, bounce off the trade line, and continue. So that is ABC in my parlance. Anybody else can be different to that, and that's fine. We each got our own way of identifying things and trading things. But every single time a trade line breaks, it's going to give you an A point. May not give you a B point. There's an A, no B, because we didn't get a retest. But every time it breaks, there's an A. Every time it retests, there's a B. And this is in succession, right? To trade it, for me, you got to break it and retest it, then go. Break it, retest it, then go. So the difference between an ABC and a false break is we've broken the trade line and retested it, and away we go. The false break, we wait until we get back above the trade line, get the A, get the B coming back, and look for the C up here. You'll see lots of them, absolutely stacks of them. Does that really answer your question, or do you need a little bit more on that? I'll find some more for you another day, perhaps. Your order is placed at the C bar. Now your order, well, there's two ways to trade it, Brian. If you're trading a simple ABC, like a break and continuation, let me see if I can find one that you might like to trade somewhere that's a bit clearer than this area here. I'll go to euro dollar. Okay, euro dollar. Let me look for an ABC. That one's a bit dusty. No retest there. There we go. All right, so we've broken a trade line. I'll roll it up a bit for you. We've broken a trade line here, and we've come back and retested it. Not only the trade line, but the daily pivot as well. That adds a little bit of sting to it. So here is the A point. Broke the trade line. You've got the A. You've retested the trade line. You've got the B. Now, the best of these will be on the trade line, right? They'll actually go, imagine this one, and this was what Chandru was talking about before. If that comes back and tests there like that, then you've got two options. You can trade it short from there if you've got a very high risk profile, or you can wait till it breaks that level there and trade it from there. So you've got A, B, and you're looking for C down here somewhere. So you either trade it at the B point, which is the retest level, or you trade it at the bottom of the candle that gives you the B point. Higher risk, lower risk, higher reward, lower reward, and the C is your target, right? Do we trade at middle of B? No, we trade at either there, where it retests, or there, where it confirms that price is going short for me. That's the confirmation level. Different ways to trade it. You want to be pretty sure of your direction if you're going to trade it from there. And that looks okay to me. That's starting to go. So that may well be a good trade for someone. It's not the way I trade. I trade here. But that's entirely up to the individual. You could probably do both. You could probably trade there at, let's say, 0.25%, and there at 0.75%, or vice versa, however you want to do that. Look, I don't really bother too much about how much of the candle it gets into, to be fair, LT. If it looks like it's an ABC, it's an ABC for me. If it looks like it, if it smells like it, it probably is one. So that's kind of where I go with that. And that'll do, you know, that'll do me. I'd be willing to trade that there. Because as I say, if price comes back to here, generally it's going to go further. Because this thing's not happening. What I mean by this thing, the buyers haven't taken control. Well, they have in that case, but only for a short distance. And then, like the theory I have goes, if it comes through here, it's going to come through here with some real gusto. And that's what we saw here. It's really decisive movement down. So, you know, they're the kind of things that are exactly what I'm looking for. But to trade it from there, and here's a perfect example of why it's high risk. It's high risk because it's a bull bar. And bull bars can sometimes, if not often, produce bull moves. Where are you going to put your stop? Ouch. That's going to hurt. So yeah, I would say that, and as I said down here, high risk to trade it from there, lower risk, far lower risk to trade it from here. And there's a perfect example as to why. Absolutely perfect example as to why. So that's why I trade from here, not from here. It's similar to limit entry orders, you know. I don't place them at all for that very reason, because I'm going against momentum. It doesn't make any sense to me. I see it, and I see why you would place a limit entry order in that position. That I get, because that's got a very, very strong chance of coming south from there, as it did. But to place a limit entry order there, and no, that just doesn't work for me. So that's why I trade the conservative method, because when it comes back with a bit of force. How to place a buy, sell, stop limit. Okay, you mean a buy limit or a buy stop, or a buy and sell stop limit? Okay, I think I know what you mean. Let's go with both. So you mean the actual physical method of doing it? All right, let me show you the manual way to do it. So let's say you want to enter the market here short as a limit entry order. So the level is 1.08830. So you go into here and you can go sell limit if you want, but I'll do it the hard way. And where you've got market execution here, you go pending order. It's not a buy limit, it's a sell limit. So you want to sell at this level here. So you simply put that level in, 1.08830. And you put your stop loss in wherever that's going to be. Let's say it's above the range, 1.0900. And you want to put, that'll do, that amount of money on it. So place the order. And you can't see you can see the entry level. Here's the sell limit, right? So as soon as you hit there, it will sell you into the market, fill your order. And your stop loss is up here, never in doubt. So that's how you do that manually. Zigzag pattern. I don't do zigzag patterns, but if you can see a zigzag pattern, as I continue to say, use it. If it works, use it. I have got absolutely nothing against anybody doing anything as long as it works consistently. And that's exactly how I treat the market. If it works consistently and you make money out of it, hell, do it. Since the Aussie has retraced, how do we trade the retracement off the monthly pivot false break 1 hour chart? What's the difference between sell stop and sell limit? Okay, a sell limit is when you're putting your entry above where the market is. So you're placing the order when you're here, right? Let me show you from the current place. Say we wanted to sell into the market when we get to the daily pivot. Daily pivot level is at 1.0837. We can place a sell limit order now, and when price gets to the daily pivot, it will trigger us into the trade. You can also do it wherever you are, but it won't take you in until you get to that level. But to do a sell stop, you have to be above the market. So in other words, if you wanted to place a sell stop here, you could place it now. But if price is below that level, you can't place that order. Why would you not consider the current low test on the dollar CAD H4 channel support not enough for you to consider a long up to the channel resistance? From a technical point of view, I'll answer the question, but the reason I wouldn't want to trade dollar CAD at the moment is simply because of oil. I don't know what's going to happen there. I'll have a look at that in a tick. ABC, if long, we place order at high price of B candle. If long, we place order at high price of B candle. Okay, here we go. If we're going long, here's an ABC. I haven't got the correct trend line here, but here's an ABC, right? A, B, C. So A for the break, B for the retest, C for the continuation. So A is the break, B is the retest, C is the continue. So for my money, I place the order here. And here's another good example as to why. If you place your order here at the retest level, And you'd want to be full of kahunas to do that, to be fair, because you're going against momentum. But if you did, you'd be in a bit of strife right now because your stops are probably there and you're gone. But if you place it here, then my contention is that when price comes back to that level, it's coming back there for a reason, and that reason is probably to go to the next resistance level. So to answer your question, price, high price of the B candle. Yep. Break of the high of the B candle is correct. That's where I would place my order. How many questions have I missed here? Quickly to dollar CAD. I'll answer that question.
Sorry, mate. Very, very quickly. There is a
Yep.
trade on the FTSE.
Go to you then, mate.
If anybody's interested. Now, I think it'd be worth trading this. Well, it's going to be worth trading this light. It is. There's no doubt that this is a difficult.
You're welcome, Stanley.
This is a great education there, mate. This is a difficult trade to enter. There's no two ways about it. You know, we are on a pattern. We're on the daily pivot. We're on the monthly pivot, and we're just switching around here. But I'm just seeing that the momentum is starting to kind of to crash down a bit. It would suggest that there would be a little bit of upside here into this area. Stops at the highs. We do like this area, and that's why I think it's well worth it. You know, we were talking about what we'd need to see in a sell zone. And in actual fact, this is the trade right here. So you want to probably get your trade on there, which I'm just going to do. There we go. The trade is the sell, and the sell is here, right here and now. You can take it a market order with your stops at the highs. Now, I would go in light, and then what you can do is really what Jeff's talking about. Go in one here, and then place another half of the order under the level down here. And if the market starts to collapse, then you're in the money effectively twice. And then you're just going to have to trail those stops. It will give you sort of somewhere to put those stops. But that's the entry right along the trend line. Let's just look at this on a 15-minute time frame here, so you can see what we got. There's the entry, you see, right along the time frame. This is the difficult part. You know, you got all this to get through, which is why I'd put your if you are going to re-enter this again, if you're I'd split it up, some here, some down here. Then if it's going to go, then it's going to have to take out the monthly pivot, the daily pivot, and then you should get a decent sweep to the downside. So, but I wouldn't risk too much on the trade in the first instance anyway. You know, on the whole trade. So you're splitting the trade into two parts, but I wouldn't risk too much on the whole trade anyway, just because of these pivots here. You know, they are in a tricky spot there, and that might be just enough to keep this market buoyant. But entries anywhere here and again down there. Stops at the highs, obviously. So you're looking at around about maybe a 40 or 50 pip stop on the first one, and the second one looks like around about a 70 pip stop on the second half. Okay, mate. Well, let's see how this goes during the US session. You know, this is a difficult trade. I mean, I'm not suggesting it's not. I think the reason I'm getting into this is that I do want the short side longer term, and if we consider this, really, I guess what I'm saying is that I am a bear longer term, and maybe we've just had a little bit of a throw of a catalyst. We've broken down a trend line here without breaking down pivots, which is going to be tricky. So it might not be the best entry, but in fact, it's not the best entry point. We can't really make any bones about that. It's not the best entry point. But the reason I'm taking this trade is that at least we have a signal. It's weak. It's a good signal, but even though it's on a bit of a short-term buy zone here. But the longer-term picture is for a sell zone, and that's what I'm relying on here. So let's see if we can get a breakdown of the monthly and daily pivot, and then we'll be off to the races, and we'll see how we get on. So that's the trade there, mate. We'll review it in the US session later on and see how we've got on with it.
Happy days, mate. Very quickly through the last couple of questions. And I can't take the screen.
Sorry, mate. I will give it to you. There you
You're
go.
right. So dollar CAD, firstly. Again, going back to why, and that's because of the oil at the moment. I think anything against the CAD is very tough to trade. But as soon as we get a signal as to which direction oil is actually going to head next, then I'll totally change my mind, because I think it's awesome to get back into it. As far as a setup is concerned, I quite like it. I do quite like it. But it's not a candle I trade in this location, I've got to say. I do trade that candle, but it's generally short. And I'll explain to you how and why that is the case some other time, really, because I like to see 2 or 3 of these on a line. And we've kind of got one here. This one's a little bit lower than it, but it's there. I'm kind of getting signals that this could go short again, but I'm also getting signals that this could go long again. So here's the technical reason I won't trade at the moment. I haven't got a clear vision as to what's going to happen next. I've got a signal that's telling me this could actually go short, and I've got a signal that's telling me this could actually go long. Do I pick one, or do I trade both? There would be times where I would trade both as an OCO, but this isn't one of them because of the fundamentals that are going on around it. So this candle here, I would never trade long, never. That's a sell bar for me. So you need to take that with a grain of salt if you're thinking any other strategy, because I think I'm the only strategy that I know of that would actually trade that short. That's a short bar for me, not a long bar. I told you I was different, guys. It's really a completely different way that you've probably been taught. And certainly if you're a trend trader, you certainly wouldn't be trading that short, that's for sure. Fusion, I draw a line on one chart. It shows up on all the charts. How to make it stop doing that? Okay, that's a pretty easy one. So if we have a look at this one, Crystal, this channel here, double click on it, double left click on it, then right click on it. You'll see channel properties come up. You go into channel properties and you go to visualization on the 3 tabs up here, visualization, and you can choose uncheck the box, show on all time frames, and you can choose whichever time frame you want to look at it on. Okay. That one was easy. For ABC pattern, contrarian. Yes, you're right, Crystal. For ABC pattern, how do we determine the entry point at C? I hope we've dealt with that 1 minute. If we haven't, then please raise it again. I think we did go through that one okay. Collapse, you use the word collapse. That's like dash. Aussie yen has also touched off 4-hour and 1-hour chart on top Aussie yen. I'll quickly go to Aussie yen on my US session charts. I should have one here somewhere. Aussie yen on the what charts? 4-hour and 1-hour. I'm on the 4-hour. Certainly it's touched the top of the channel. No question there. Going back to what I just said before, when I get a candle that looks like that, I don't trade it short. Never. This looks really nice if you're willing to trade into the resistance areas. I'm not. I think this is a no-go zone for me, because you're trading straight into resistance. Not a thing for me. But to trade that short is also not a thing for me. So I've got nowhere to go with that. The hourly chart is telling me, and there's that bar again, exactly the same bar. If that were a lower high, let me have a look at that 4-hour chart actually. Yeah, it's not. It's a higher high now. So that's a bit of an issue. On the 1-hour chart, let me go a bit wider. Yeah, I don't see a trade here for me. What I would like to see is a retest of the weekly pivot and a lower high there. That would get me short. But at the moment, no, not for me. Not saying it can't go there, of course. It's just not tradable for me at the moment. I want to see it pull back to here and give me that lower high. Then I can look to trade it. Are we done? I think I'm done.
Great. Okay, mate. I think I'm done too. Well, we got the trade on anyway. We've had a pretty good week so far. So, in fact, we've had a pretty good week. I was going to say so far, but we're not in tomorrow, are we? Not here anyway.
Oh, it's bloody Thursday, isn't it?
It's
Where did that go?
Thursday. Yeah.
Hang
End of the
on,
week.
there's another couple of questions. Not for different time frames, for all charts, different currency pairs. Whoa, hang on. I have to go back to the question again now. Sorry, mate, I'm holding you up.
No, not at all.
Where's the question? How to place buy, sell, stop limit, buy, sell, stop limit, zigzag pattern. There is a sell stop limit. I don't know what that is. Ash, do you know what a sell stop limit is?
A sell stop limit. Never heard of that. Sell stop, yes.
Okay, on Fusion Markets, if I draw a line on one chart, it shows up on all charts. You mean if you draw a line on, for instance, euro dollar chart, it shows up on pound US dollar? Really? Is that what you're saying, Crystal? Sorry, PH. I did see your message. I will have a look at that in a tick too.
If your line is at a specific level, then what the software is doing is picking up the level of the line, not necessarily the chart it's on. So I can draw a line on my futures and then open up my UK cash and it be still there, or I could even open up the NASDAQ and it still be there, because what it's picking up is the level of the line, the actual price of the line, rather than the chart that it's on. So it's not actually glued to the chart; it's glued to the level. So that's normal if you're seeing that.
How do you fix it?
Oh, you don't fix it, mate. You just delete it from the chart you're looking at and have to redraw it again.
So what you're saying to me, again, this never happens to me, right? I'm going to draw a line on euro dollar chart, right? There.
Yeah.
What you're telling me is if I go to euro Aussie, it's going to be there.
No, it'll be there if so.
Don't believe it.
Hold on a minute. Let me just see. Let me just have a look at this a second.
Oh, no, it's not there.
Right. Let me show you something. So if I go to
you do that, and I'll have a look at PH's thing.
Okay. So if we have a look at the FTSE, need to grab this screen. How can I do this? Here we go. So if I delete all these lines here, let's get rid of all these. All right, so deleting all the lines on that one. Now, if I delete the lines on that one, then if I draw a level, now let's draw the level on this one at, let's go on the daily. Somewhere up here. Let's draw it on here at 86 there, 86.97. And then I'll bring up the NASDAQ. Look, that line is still there, 86.97. And my lines on the FTSE are still there. So it's not saving on my chart, it's saving the actual price point. That's what the line is doing, it's saving the price point. So it'll appear on any chart which has that same price point in that range. So if you draw a chart on the euro dollar, it won't show if it's nowhere near. I mean, look at the euro pound is there. Now the the Aussie dollar is at 0.63. So if I draw a level here on the euro pound, it's going to have to come right the way down. Oh, I can't draw it lower than that. Yeah, you have to find something that's close. In actual fact, we can use the Aussie dollar. and draw a level here. And we're going to use the Kiwi dollars at near enough 5.9. Okay, so if I draw this at 5.9, when I bring up my Kiwi dollar, then I'm going to see the same line because it's saving the price point and it's not in relation to the chart, not in relation to the currency pair that we're working with.
I'll believe you.
It doesn't happen for you.
No.
Well, so if you draw a line at a price point, let's say you draw it. So if you draw a line at 0.6 on your Aussie dollar chart,
Yeah.
and then open up a Kiwi dollar.
Yeah, I'm not doing it, but I'll do it later.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Have a look later on, but yeah, it should save the price point rather than the chart anyway. So that's why people are seeing that.
You live and learn, and you can't fix it.
No, I don't think it's a glitch necessarily. I think that's just the way MT4 works. I'm pretty sure that's why. It's just otherwise you'd have the same line effectively, and all over everything. So yeah, I think you just have to delete and start again. There might be, it's possible you could tab fix it. I've never tried that before. I'm dragging each one on. If you put your Kiwi dollar on one tab and your Aussie dollar on another tab, then it's possible that would fix it instead. But I'm not 100% sure on that because I don't use tabs.
Cool. Okay, we have got one more thing to do, and then I am done.
Great.
So I've got a viewpoint on CAD yen that I've got to have a look at. Screen time. Can't do it. Can you unshare, mate, please?
Oh, sorry, buddy. Sorry.
You're right.
There's a word on my own there.
Okay, now it won't let me. Here we go. Ah, bingo. All right, CAD yen. Question is this a good slingshot setup for a short? And what am I on? Hourly chart. Let me go to the 30-minute chart. Yeah, it kind of is. But I want to see this candle, I suppose. Let me, I can't quite get it as a false break. Yeah, it's something that's in between. I like the fact that we've broken through the bottom of this little range here that we've had today, and the entry would be below that. The thing that I don't like about it is that I don't like to trade short at support, but if that support is broken, I think we've got a chance here. So I can go along with it. And we were talking about ABCs before. So we've broken the daily pivot. We've broken the bottom of the channel, which effectively is a trend line anyway. And we've broken this trade line, which is inside there. So this is a potential ABC short, definitely. The thing is, and I go back to this for me, I'm out of CAD trades at the moment. I don't want to be in a CAD trade right now until I see oil either continue to crash or rebound, because I think it can do either. And I think I'm in the absolute hands of those who trade oil, not the hands of those who trade the CAD or the yen. So for that reason, I'm going to say it's a no for me, but it is a definite ABC possibility. And even if you throw in low test bar, there's an opportunity there, one would think, if you can get over the oil thing. Keep us up for the weekend. If you use, yeah, look, it should keep you awake at night, Crystal, if nothing else. Why so quiet today? No disturb, teacher. Helen's probably preparing for the weekend, I think. Mate, I think that does me.
Right.
Nothing else to do. Let's have a look how we're going on that pound trade. Wrong chart. Pound. Holy smackaroonie. That doesn't look good at all. Where's our stop loss? Up here somewhere. Okay, we need some selling to come in fairly rapidly, one would think. But this, as I said before, I'm a pound bear, a bull today, and if I see this close here, this current bar, not a 15-minute chart, more, maybe, I'll be looking for a false break here. I think that's far more likely. Oh, gee, I like the look of that, actually. I think that's pretty cool. If we got back above the monthly pivot and retested that confluence area, you would have to see me go long here. But I need to take profit here before the top of the range. It's a dangerous position to trade. But as always, if I'm going to trade long, it's going to be off support with confidence. So yeah, a little close here on that, whatever that line is. I don't know why I've got it there. Can't remember. And retest that trend line. Yep. Enter there. Profit here. Let it rip. Let it go. For the breakout trade, that's not going to be good news, of course, because we won't even get a trailing stop on it. Well, maybe we will with a couple of 15-minute sell bars. So let's see if we can get both. That would be good. Probably lost too much week. Did you have a bad week, Helen? What happened? Have you been trading Ash's stuff? You've been killing it. I'm done.
You done?
Yep.
Great stuff.
You done?
All right. I'm done. Yeah. We got a trade in the FTSE, so let's see how that rolls. We'll check it out in the US session. During the US session, we will have known the data from the US, so we should have a clearer picture on what's going on with the market. Upside from this particular point, I'm not interested in at all. That the stops would have been triggered on the monthly pivot now, so you'll be out of break even on that first trade. So I'm not interested in entering again long at this stage. If it gets through this level, holds, and we get some decent employment numbers, maybe. But I'm still very keen on the shorts here. But the market is just having a little bit of a intermediate rally right now. So let's see if it unfolds the way we want it to, mate.
Yeah, mate. I'm not sure I'll be trading too much more today. I'm in Euro Aussie short. I'm in pound yen long, which is out of the money at the moment, I've got to say. And I'm in the Aussie long. I don't know how that's going at the moment. Yeah, kind of holding its own. And I've taken profit, so no drama. Taken profit on Euro Aussie twice. So all is well with the world.
Great stuff. All right, buddy. All right, well, I'll see you back in a little while. Everyone else, see you next week. Same trade time, same train channel. But for you, mate, I will see you this afternoon.
Yeah, mate, we'll be around come US Open time. And guys, thank you so much for being part of our week. It's been wonderful having you, and I hope you've learned something and maybe even made some money as a bonus.
Yeah,
catch you
as always. So, see you later, guys. See you later, buddy.
See you, mate.